Hello, dear students. So, now we have finished chapter 1, which was reproduction in organisms, where we saw a broad outline of different kinds of reproductive systems, mechanisms, ways, and specialized structures which are involved for the reproduction in uh, different organisms, right? So, in this way, we had a broad overview, uh, a feeling about the reproductive system or reproductive ways about the all living organisms. Now, in this chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, here we will deal with the mainly higher plants only. We will not discuss the sexual reproduction in the lower organisms like algae or bryophyta or pteridophyta or even gymnosperms. Rather, here we will be discussing only the flowering plants. So, as you all are aware that when we say flowering plants, what do you understand, right? You already have understood the meaning of sexual reproduction. In the previous chapter, we discussed all the aspects of the asexual reproduction, of the sexual reproduction, its characteristics, features, etc. And what is the flowering plant? All the flower bearing plants are called as flowering plants. And these flowering plants, in the technical sense, they all come under the angiosperms, right? Those of you who are not able to collect that what are the angiosperms, in the interest of your preparation for the NEET exams, I urge you all of you who have forgotten or who are not clear about the terms angiosperm and gymnosperm, please revise your notes or just have a look on the chapters where we had discussed the classification of the plants last year. Okay, where we had seen the salient features and characteristics of the bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. If you just have a recap of that chapter, you will be able to appreciate much better that what are the angiosperms, and then your foundation will be strong to continue this chapter. Okay, so what are angiosperms? Angiosperms nothing but they are the plants. They are actually not the primitive plants, but they are the advanced and higher plants. Okay, this is the era of the angiosperms, higher plants. Mesozoic era, the era of the time period when these dinosaurs dominated the earth, those times, the Mesozoic era, then gymnosperms were dominating the earth. Gymnosperms do not bear flower. Okay, however angiosperms bear flower. They bear fruits as well. Okay, so here in this chapter we will be discussing the sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. Let me tell you also that flowering plants or higher plants not only perform the sexual reproduction, but they also can have uh, asexual reproduction, as we had seen in the last chapter. Like we had seen that many vegetative propagules, like in case of the runners, or we had seen in case of the offset like water hyacinth, how vegetative propagation actually leads to the uh, overwhelming of the ponds, right? Or banana, or even the sugar cane, these are grown using the vegetative means of the propagation, which is not the sexual reproduction, but it is a means of asexual reproduction. So we also had seen that a zygote develops into the embryo. Okay, so zygote is the thing which is formed after the male and female gametes fuse together during the process of fertilization, and then this zygote undergoes process of embryogenesis to form the embryo, which will later on develop into a complete new organism or complete new plant here in this case. And this female gamete in case of the higher plants actually is present in the female reproductive structures, female reproductive part of the plant, which is nothing but the pistil. Okay, so pistil or we also call it as carpel. So carpel का जो स्ट्रक्चर है डिटेल वो कैसा होता है हम ऑलरेडी लास्ट ईयर मॉर्फोलॉजी के चैप्टर में पढ़ चुके हैं, और यहाँ भी हम थोड़ा सा उसका डिटेल नॉट ओनली मॉर्फोलॉजिकल बट इवन हम उसका जो थोड़ा सा टिश्यू लेवल स्ट्रक्चर है वो भी हम इसमें देखेंगे इस चैप्टर में। सो पहले हम फ्लावर के बारे में एक जनरल नॉलेज लेंगे और हम उसमें ये देखेंगे कि किस तरह से जो स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं वो मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट जो है फ्लावर का हायर प्लांट्स में वो उसका स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, उसके क्या क्या कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं और क्या उसका टिश्यू स्ट्रक्चर होता है, और उसमें जो प्रोसेस ऑफ द गैमीट फॉर्मेशन है उसको हम डिटेल में थोड़ा सा स्टडी करेंगे। और उसके बाद फिर इसी तरह से हम फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट जो है जिसको पिस्टिल बोलते हैं या मेगास्पोरेंजियम बोलते हैं वो कैसे डेवलप होता है, उसका स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, वो सब हम इस चैप्टर में स्टडी करेंगे। और उसके बाद जब मेल गैमीट्स फीमेल गैमीट तक पहुंचते हैं, इन अदर वर्ड्स जो पॉलन ग्रेन्स है, द process by which the pollen grains are carried from the male reproductive portion of the plant to the female reproductive part or the flower. This is nothing but pollination. So we will study about different kinds of the pollination or different ways in which it can operate. So this we will also study briefly. And then when the pollen grain reaches over there in the female, then what happens? The male gamete has been brought to the female gamete. So gamete transfer has taken place. So first we will see what the formation of the male and female gamete and where they are formed, in what structure they are formed, right? And what is the structure of the gamete itself. Then we will see the transfer of the gamete, which is nothing but pollination here. So after the male and female gamete formation, we will see gamete transfer, then we will see the fertilization. So fertilization in case of higher plants, in case of angiosperms, is a very characteristic kind of fertilization. It is also called as double fertilization. So we will study about that process, which is double fertilization. And then after fertilization, now you have an idea that there are three stages: pre-fertilization events, fertilization, and post-fertilization event. So what happens in the post-fertilization event? There will be the formation of the embryo, seeds and fruits will be formed. So we will have a brief discussion about these processes as well. And then there are certain variations that these higher plants, in addition to the sexual reproduction, there are some other specialized means also, or some interesting variations also which are seen in case of the higher plants for the reproduction purpose. Those things also we will see. Okay, so in a way you can see or you can now visualize that this chapter is going to be very interesting, and here now you will see the details and the beauty of the nature, that how these things takes place. Okay, so as we have seen that these things, three things, zygote, ovule and ovary, develop into the embryo, seed and fruit respectively. So with these things we will see slowly one after another in a very systematic way. Now before starting the technical things in the chapter, you all are aware with the importance of flower. The beauty of the world, as you all know, actually is very much, or to a very large extent, is attributable to the existence of the flower. Can you imagine a world where there is no flower? All the shades of the colors, what we appreciate, and different varieties of the beautiful flowers, which are not associated only with the certain religious things, but it has a wide variety of the uses. So across all the cultures, not only in India but across the world, different cultures have their own value for the flowers. So flowers have a very deep cultural value. They have a social value, they have aesthetic value. That means even those people which are so called uncivilized, who don't have any culture or who hardly have any culture, they also love the flowers. Okay, so uh, many people who don't believe in the uh, religion, who are not religious people, still they value the flowers because of their aesthetics, because of their beauty, because of their just by seeing the flowers you feel certain happiness. Okay, so flowers provide color, they provide beauty, and because of their great role in our cultural, social, aesthetic, religious, ornamental values, they have become associated with human emotions and feelings. So, various human feelings like love and affection, or respect, or happiness, grief, or mourning, these things are also associated with the or expressed with the flower. You might have noticed in movies that how the flower is presented by one person to another person, be it the young people, or be it to the parents, or be it during the marriage ceremonies or occasions. Or you might also have seen that if some very respected dignitary, some very famous person or politician, if he dies, then you would have seen in the televisions that how people visit uh, to that place to pay their last tributes, and they will present the flowers. Okay, so right from our birth to death, in all important occasions, in all the kinds of the human feelings, be it love or grief, flowers have their own place in the human society and civilization. But having now appreciated all the beauty of the flowers, do you know that plants have not produced these flowers for our use or for the use of the humans? Rather, in the biological sense, flowers have a very essential purpose for the uses of the plants, not for the uses of the human culture or human. Okay, plants have not produced flowers so that you can present it to somebody, right? Or you can extract the nectar or the various kinds of the scents, or uh, like many people get rose water from the roses. So that is the secondary usage, and people have got it for the human welfare. But the actual purpose why these flowers are there for the plants is that because they are needed for the sexual reproduction, right? So these sexual reproduction, again, why there are different varieties, why there are different morphological structures, they are also having a very great evolutionary significance, and they are also having very important reasons why different kinds, different shades, different orders and scents have evolved in the flowers. Okay, so now let us come to the other aspect, which is more scientific rather than the social. So if you are a farmer who grows a flower in his plant, in his farm or field, then this process of growing flowers in a commercial way in the agricultural farms is called as floriculture. Similarly, I think you all will know that horticulture is the growing of the vegetables in the field, right? So floriculture is a term which you should know, because here now we are going to study the flowers. So these flowers are actually sites of the sexual reproduction in plants. That is their primary purpose. Okay, the primary purpose of the flowers is not to provide you a good sense of smell and good uh, जो आपको एक अच्छी सी इत्र या खुशबू मिलती है, या आपको फ्लावर अच्छा लगता है डिफरेंट कलर के, वो सब उसका पर्पज़ नहीं है. उसका पर्पज़ है to provide the site of sexual reproduction in the plants. ओके, सो फ्लावर्स जो हैं या सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन का जो साइट है वो कैसे बनता है, हाउ इट इज़ फार्म्ड. तो एज यू ऑल नो, we already have seen that when a zygote develops into the complete plant, what will happen? There will be cell division and cell differentiation, and this will lead to the growth and development of the plant. Okay, so one part grows inside the rather grows down towards the downside, inside the soil, that is called as root, and the portion of the plant which grows upwards and usually is green, some portion may be even brownish, that portion is called as shoots. Okay, so growth and development of shoots usually involves the formation of the leaves, formation of the twigs, formation of the branches, which are vegetative in nature. But when the sexual reproduction has to take place, then this growing shoot at the meristematic tissue, as you have seen last year, that how the meristem uh, keeps on dividing and it grows and gives rise to the new buds and shoots, right? That all we have seen in the chapter anatomy, plant anatomy, right? So here now you can also appreciate that how the things are connected to each other. Okay, now those of you who remember those portion of the anatomy chapter, now you will appreciate it a little more. Okay, do you remember the tunica carpus theory or histogen theory which we had discussed, right? So when the decision has to be made that okay, now these developing shoots, now they have to develop, instead of the vegetative shoot they have to develop into the flower, then at that meristematic tissue the decision will be made. And how this decision will be made? This will be based on certain sensing of those meristematic cells. Usually it involves the hormones. Okay, so some hormonal changes will be there. There is a imaginary hormone called as florigen, which is considered to be responsible for the uh, turning of the meristematic tissue into the floral meristematic tissue. Okay, so what you have to remember is that a developing shoot apex, a developing shoot meristem, because of the influence of the hormones and certain structural changes are brought about, then the decision is made whether that shoot has to will develop into the vegetative shoot or it will develop into the flower. So those hormonal changes will indicate that it has to develop into a flower, and then that meristematic tissue will develop into the floral primordium. So floral primordium is actually nothing but it's the first tissue of the uh, flower of the plant, which will eventually now has destined that it will eventually develop into a flower. Okay, so this primordium, this meristem actually will generate the floral bud, and this floral bud actually will later on develop into the flower. From this floral bud, various these patches of the meristematic tissue will develop. Some whorls or patches will develop into sepal, some into petal, some will grow into the stamens, and others will grow into the pistil or carpel. Okay, so this is how a beautiful flower will come into existence, and it will have its distinct features. So the male portion of the flower and female portion of the flower, they are respectively called as the androecium. So androecium is the male portion of the flower. So androecium is actually male flower, male part of the flower, and gynoecium is the female part of the flower. Okay, so what will be included in the androecium? It will include the stamens. Okay, and gynoecium will include the carpel or pistil. There are two outer worlds as well, which are petals and sepals. These are actually accessory floral parts. They are not the primary portions or primary tissues which are responsible directly for the sexual reproduction, but they some way or the other they help the sexual reproduction of the flower. However, the primary organ or the primary tissue for the sexual reproduction is these two flowering parts, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so androecium. So now in first we will discuss about the uh, about the androecium, which is the male flowering plant. So as you can see in the figure 2.1, this is a typical flowering structure. Here you can see diagrammatic representation of the flower. This is a longitudinal or vertical section. So here you can see that this is the ovary, and this ovary actually is a part of this carpel and pistil, and here at the topmost in the carpel you have this stigma where the anther, the pollen grain from the anther will come and sit, and it is a part of the sort of the pollen transfer. Okay, so in the carpel you have style, you have stigma, then you have a long cylinder tube which is a style, and then you have ovary at the bottom. This ovary will contain the female gamete. Okay, so that will we will discuss in the next section. In the first section before that we will discuss about the androecium or the male portion. So here you can see there are so many stamens. So stamen actually is consists of a very slender stalk called as filament, and knob like structure at the top which is nothing but anther. Okay, so anther connected with the slender stalk called as filament, and that filament at the bottom here it will be connected to the thalamus. Okay, so thalamus is this tissue at the bottom which contains the uh, which provides the platform for the flowering structure, so on which these worlds develop. Okay, so this proximal portion uh, of this stamen is connected to the thalamus, right? So here in this structure again, okay, so let us first complete this. So here you have seen the relative arrangement of the gynoecium, then you have seen the androecium, and this colored portion is nothing but the petals, and it is a whorl of the corolla, and then you have this calyx, or the calyx is formed by nothing but sepals. Okay, sepals are usually green in nature, they are outside, and during the bud stage the entire bud is covered by the sepals. Okay, and this is the peduncle, the last portion. So peduncle bears this thalamus, and thalamus bears all the whorls or the all the regions of the flower. Okay, so now if we see the stamen, here you can see that a stamen is having a long cylinder stalk, and this portion is attached, this is the proximal portion, this is the distal portion. Okay, so this proximal portion is attached to the thalamus or the receptacle. Okay, and this portion is the anther. So how does anther look like? So here in this figure you can see, so this anther is having two lobes. Okay, this is one lobe, and this is the another lobe. The ये जो पीछे वाला है आपको ये दूसरा लोब दिख रहा है, ये एक आगे एक लोब दिख रहा है. अगर इसको आप क्लोजली देखिए तो यू कैन सी, इफ यू सी दिस वन, दिस इज ए zoomed स्ट्रक्चर और 3 डायमेंशनल सेक्शन ऑफ द एंथर. तो एंथर ये यहाँ पे देखिए नीचे स्टॉक से जुड़ा हुआ है, और इस एंथर में इफ़ यू विजुअलाइज इट क्लोजली, हियर यू कैन सी दैट ये एक पूरा ग्रीन पोर्शन एक ये है, ठीक, ये. सो दिस इज वन लोब, and this lobe is connected with another lobe through this tissue, right? So actually these anthers usually are bilobed structure. So this is one lobe, this is another lobe. There might be certain variations, but most of the anthers are bilobed, and this is what you have to study in your syllabus. Then these bilobed structures, so this is the one lobe, this is another lobe, so that means anther is having two lobes, it is a bilobed anther. Now each lobe of the anther contains two theca. Okay, so this is one theca and this is another theca. So between these two theca, here you see, between this is one theca, this is another theca, between these two theca you will see a longitudinal line. So this is called a line of dehiscence. लाइन ऑफ डिस्टेंस में क्या होता है, जब ये एंथर रिलीज होना होता है तो ये यहाँ से ब्रेक होता है, यहाँ से ये फट जाता है और यहाँ से ये एंथर बाहर निकलने लगता है। तो इसी पोर्शन को, इसी रीजन को लाइन ऑफ डिस्टेंस बोलते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ से ये फटता है और फिर यहाँ से इसमें से एंथर्स रिलीज हो जाते हैं। ओके, so line of dehiscence is located, is present between the two theca of the two lobes. So each lobe has two theca. So the bilobed anther has how many theca? It has four theca. Okay, so theca जो आउटसाइड से आपको दिखता है इसको हम theca बोलते हैं, यानी जो दो उभरे हुए स्ट्रक्चर हैं इसको हम theca बोलते हैं। लेकिन अगर आप अंदर से देखें, आप क्रॉस सेक्शन में अंदर से देखें तो you have these two chambers. Okay, so two chambers in one lobe and two chambers in another lobe. So these chambers are called as sporangium. Okay, so these are the sporangium of the androecium. So they are, androecium क्या करता है, मेल गैमीट बनाता है, यानी माइक्रोस्पोर बनाता है. So this is a sporangium which generates the microspore, that is why it is also called as microsporangium. Okay, so microsporangium, so each anther is having four microsporangia. माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया आप यहाँ देख लीजिए, माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया जो है वो प्लूरल है, माइक्रोस्पोरेंजियम वो सिंगुलर होता है. ठीक है, तो एंथर जो है आपका बाइलोब्ड हो गया एंड ईच लोब इज डाइथेकस लोब. तो एंथर में टोटल आपके 4 थेका हो गए और 4 माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया हो गए. एंड एंथर इज ऑल्सो 4 साइडेड टेट्रागोनल स्ट्रक्चर. सो ईच एंथर हैज 4 साइड्स, 1 साइड, 2 साइड, 3 साइड, 4 साइड. ठीक, तो आपको ये 4 साइड्स दिख रहे हैं और ये टेट्राहेड्रल अरेंजमेंट में है, इसीलिए टेट्रागोनल, सॉरी टेट्राहेड्रल नहीं, टेट्रागोनल अरेंजमेंट. तो ये हमने देखा कि एक ओवरऑल स्ट्रक्चर जो किस तरह से है इसका माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया का. तो माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया एक्चुअली उसका स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, डिटेल्ड स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, वो हम फिर डिस्कस करेंगे नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में. तो माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया एक्चुअली डेवलप करता है और इवेंचुअली यही स्पोरेंजियम, इसको पॉलिनसाइक भी बोलते हैं, जब ये डेवलप हो जाता है पूरी तरह से कम्प्लीटली, because it contains the pollen. Initially it is a microsporangia, microspores will be formed and these microspores will form and mature and they will become pollen. So when this becomes mature and it develops completely and it is filled with the pollen, then this is same chamber of the microsporangium is called as pollen sacs. तो pollen sacs, ठीक है, ये देख लिया आप, SACS, pollen sacs जो है ये टर्म एक्चुअली और इस माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया एक तरह से सिनोनिमस है, एक ही उसके लिए यूज होते हैं. ठीक है, एंड यूजुअली दे एक्सटेंड लॉन्गिट्यूडनली एंड दे आर समटाइम्स दे एक्चुअली द अरेंजमेंट ऑफ दिस लाइन्स ऑफ डेहिसेंस और अरेंजमेंट ऑफ दिस लोब्स आल्सो वेरीज कंसिडरेबली. हमने मॉर्फोलॉजी के चैप्टर में देखा था कि किस तरह से किसी भी एक पार्ट को अगर आप पकड़ लीजिए तो उसमें किस तरह से डिफरेंट वेरिएशंस होते हैं, उसी तरह से इसमें भी बहुत सारे वेरिएशंस होते हैं. यहाँ पे हालांकि इस चैप्टर में हम वो सब डिटेल्स देखने की हमें ज़रूरत नहीं है, वी विल नॉट गो इनटू दोस थिंग. हियर वी विल सी ए टिपिकल बाइलोब्ड माइक्रोस्पोरेंजियम. ठीक है, एंड देन वी विल सी इट्स इंटरनल डिटेल स्ट्रक्चर एंड हाउ द formation of the microspores takes place. Those things we will see. One more thing here I want to convey you, that as we had seen last year also in case of the in the chapter of the morphology, that it is not only the morphology or appearance of the microsporangia or the anther which differs. Rather, each different kind of the species or flower will have different length or different width of these uh, stalks or filament, and how this anther is attached to the filament, this will also vary. There are different ways how the anther can be attached to the filament. कुछ ये इस तरह से अटैच्ड है, कुछ ये इस तरह से अटैच्ड हो सकते हैं, कुछ में ये फिक्स्ड हो सकता है. So there are various ways of the attachment of the anther to the filament. Then the length of the filament also varies. There is a great variation between the length of the filament among different flowers. Then what is the arrangement of different stamens together, whether they all remain free or these stamens remain united to the corolla or the petals, okay, or sometimes these anthers remain united together themselves इन बंडल लाइक फैशन. एक बंडल में हो सकते हैं या दो बंडल में होंगे, या समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस a group of the stamens will remain together in a bundle and one or two stamen will remain separate. So those kind of diadelphous polyadelphous arrangement is also there for the stamens. Okay, so this kind of huge kind of the variations will be seen. These are the things which provide the beauty to the flower actually. ये जो different arrangements है एंथर का, different color है जो एंथर का, और different color of the corolla, these actually provide the flower the thing what they are known for, why they are famous, why they are so attractive. Okay, so now we will stop here. We will discuss more about the uh, male portion of the flower which is androecium. So we will discuss more about the microsporangium and pollen grain formation in the next lecture. Okay, so uh, listen these lectures carefully. If you have not understood something properly, you can just go back, you can rewind your lecture, you can listen it again, and don't forget to make your notes. And if you have any doubts, just message me on the on my number. Okay, so thank you, take care, bye bye.